Alrighty folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is Bo Talks Games, and today we're talking, of course, more about the Nintendo Switch 2. Every day this past, really since the year started, frankly, has just been absolutely insane. And today we have comments from Nintendo itself regarding the Switch 2 leaks. They actually made a statement about the leaks at CES the other day. Of course, Genki, the accessory manufacturer, was showing off some stuff they probably should not have been showing off. Supposedly, the Nintendo ninjas actually went to CES and shut down the booth. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll also talk about the potential of a reveal this coming week. I am personally very skeptical of this. However, it's been a big talking point. Even with Donkey Kong releasing, I've seen a lot of people start shifting their views around and saying, like, well, maybe they could announce it before Donkey Kong releases, and there are a couple of things that maybe suggest this could actually happen. So that's what we're talking about today. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy Nintendo Switch 2 speculation, theories, discussion, I would appreciate you subscribing. Let's get into it. Okay, so first up, let's talk about Nintendo's response to the quote-unquote leaks at CES. If you're not familiar with the situation, if you missed the past couple of videos, basically there was this accessory manufacturer, Genki, from Japan, who was showing up at CES. They had their own booth there, and they were showing off 3D printed mock-ups of the Switch 2 that they had, and they were saying to IGN in an interview, and they were saying to people on the show floor, like, hey, this is based on an actual Switch 2 that we have seen, which obviously raises some eyebrows. A lot of people, even in my comments, were saying, like, well, how could Genki get away with this if they're, like, an officially partnered company with Nintendo? How could they be showing this if they had to sign an NDA? And I have been saying for weeks, even back in, like, December, November, when the accessory leaks started, happening in, like, a greater sense beyond just Genki, I was saying, well, these accessories are probably just based off of the leaked dimensions that we have. We've had the basic design of this console leaked since back in September when we really found out about the U-shaped kickstand, earlier this year, even with the magnetic Joy-Con. So the accessory manufacturers have had time to iron things out and get their little mock-ups ready. And ultimately, all of the ones like D-Brand and Genki, they're all getting out ahead of this, so that they can get attention, so that people like me will talk about it in videos to put focus on their brand. It is all just a big attention ploy. They are not actually associated with Nintendo. I believe Hori is really the only major accessory manufacturer that actually, like, works with Nintendo. They're actually licensed with Nintendo. And that has seemingly been confirmed because Nintendo actually made a statement about this. So this is, I'm reading from Asanke here. I'll have this link down below. This is machine translated through Google Translate because it's a Japanese website. But basically, they reached out for comments, and Nintendo simply said the images and videos coming out of CES 2025 are not official. That's what they said right here. So they're just saying they're not official, which is so funny to me. It's interesting that they even said anything. I mean, they could have just stayed quiet. They didn't. The fact that they're saying they're not official, though, they're not saying they're not real. They're just saying they're not official. So if there's any doubters still out there that this is what the Switch 2 looks like with the magnetic Joy-Con, with the extra, like, C button, like, them saying they're not official, that specific wording is pretty telling, in my opinion, that, yeah, this is actually what we're looking at here. But it wasn't just that statement they made, because there are currently rumors, not 100% confirmed, but there's people saying that apparently Nintendo actually, like, showed up at the Genki booth at CES and told them to shut it down. So apparently Nintendo rolled out the Nintendo Ninjas, and they were like, hey, we gotta get ahead of this and shut this down. Obviously, a little too late. The videos are already out there. People have seen this thing in a more, widespread sense. If you go on, like, Google Trends, the term Switch 2 has just, like, skyrocketed in the past week as more, I would say, casual consumers are learning about that, learning that Nintendo's releasing a new console this year. But yeah, this French journalist, Julien Telouac, I'm probably saying that wrong here. I'm sorry, Julian. But he's at CES, and he said that Nintendo came to their CES booth with lawyers asking them what's up, and Genki responded that they did nothing wrong and never signed an NDA. So it sounds like Nintendo is taking this pretty seriously. People are making jokes about, oh, Nintendo is going to release the console before it gets revealed, because there have been so many leaks, and usually, like, yeah, there's always, like, little Nintendo leaks. This is definitely one of the bigger Nintendo leaks in terms of, like, an upcoming product. Like, we know everything about the hardware of this thing, so it is unusual for Nintendo to have let it get to this point, but they're still trying. They're still trying to shut it down. It's kind of impossible when you started mass manufacturing, what, 3-4 months ago? Well, it's especially funny here, reading from Universal Nintendo. Once again, I'll have this link down below. Originally, Genki had said to IGN that the model that they had was based on a real Switch 2 system that they used for reference for the development of the accessories, and then they later retracted that claim. And then in an interview with a Japanese game site, GameSpark, Genki said the mock-up was based on industry rumors and speculation, like I've been saying, and the company admitted to not having seen the system. Now, is it possible they're lying to try and save face to get Nintendo off their tail? Maybe. I know there was some talk of like some black market shady dealings happening where maybe Genki had like a stolen Switch 2 off a truck from the warehouse, whatever. I think ultimately it is likelier that they have not seen the actual Switch 2 and they were just making it based off the all of the rumors and leaks that have come off. Kind of a potentially dangerous business model. Certainly dangerous to go to CES, pay for a booth to show up there and then market this thing as a Switch 2 case when Nintendo's known for taking down small companies. That's kind of what they do. So they're playing with fire here. So that's the first thing I wanted to touch on, Nintendo actually issuing a statement about this thing, that the images and videos coming out of CES are not official. It's rare you actually see Nintendo like actually do that, right? I remember, man, what was it? Back in like 2021, 2022, Nintendo straight up said they're not going to do a Switch Pro or something. Wasn't there a time where the like Nintendo Japanese Twitter account like said straight up like we are not releasing a new Switch model this year, and people still didn't believe them? I think sometimes people look too deep into what Nintendo's saying, and sometimes they're pretty upfront about things. But yeah, very, very interesting to see them actually make a statement about this, and it is a little unusual. It's rare, but they do it from time to time. Now, the next thing I want to talk about in relation to all of this, in relation to Nintendo actually acknowledging all of these leaks to some extent, is the actual reveal of this console. When is it happening? A lot of people are currently saying they think it'll be announced on the week of the 27th, so anywhere from the 27th through the 31st. Specifically, a lot of people are saying the 29th. That is the Lunar New Year. I'm not sure if that would play into things there, but really, I think we're looking at like the 28th, 30th, in that range. For the Switch 2 reveal, which would line up with what they did back in 2016. If you remember, the Switch or the NX was announced, I believe it was exactly 1 week before their investor meeting that year. So if they want to do the same thing, I mean, the 29th, that's 1 week before their investor meeting, which I believe is on February 5th. So could we see a exact one-to-one recreation of that? I think it's certainly possible, but a lot of people have started speculating that it might actually happen. I mean, at this point, it's so fun to kind of speculate it. People are getting tired of it. I understand that. It's still fun to speculate it because we know it's happening by March 31st. What week is it going to be? People are always saying like, oh, you can't just keep saying next week. You can't keep saying next week. You can't, but it is kind of fun in the moment trying to fit all these different pieces of the puzzle together. But basically right now, a lot of people, not me, I truly don't think this is going to happen, but a lot of people are trying to say that they think it'll happen next Tuesday or Wednesday before Donkey Kong releases on Thursday the 16th. I would love for that to be true, and as we'll get to with another thing in a bit, I don't think it's impossible, right? I don't think Donkey Kong is enough of a factor for them to just not release the console, because if you look back to when the Switch was revealed, they actually announced it the same day that Mario Party Star Rush came out, I believe in America. So I don't think Donkey Kong releasing this re-release of a re-release that was also a re-release of like an NVIDIA Shield port, like I don't think Donkey Kong Country Returns is enough to actually make them not do it next week. It does make you question like, well, if it is next week, why would they have slated Donkey Kong for that week to begin with? I mean, they could have released Donkey Kong the following Thursday, the Thursday before. They could have released it any other week. Why release your first game of the year the same week that you're announcing your next generation console? It does feel a little weird, but I certainly don't think it's something that would make them just not do it at all. Similarly, a lot of people think they won't announce it the following week because of Inauguration Day here in the US. Trump is getting sworn into office. I don't know about that, man. I could see the arguments more when it was talking about the election, the actual election, which of course dominated the news cycle in the US for weeks leading up to it. I feel like the inauguration, even the election, I don't think was that much of a factor, frankly. Obviously, they didn't announce it, so maybe it was, but I don't think they didn't announce it because of the election last year. And similarly, I don't think the inauguration, if they wanted to announce it next week, yeah, they probably would avoid Monday, which is when the inauguration is. I don't think that one day would rule out like the 22nd or the 23rd. I've seen a lot of people just writing off that entire week. I think that's a little silly, to be honest. Nintendo is a Japanese company. Obviously, US is one of their major markets, but I just don't think it necessarily correlates there. I feel like if they would announce their new console, they'll announce it then, and they would still get the mainstream press coverage they want if it's a couple days after the inauguration. And then, yeah, like I said, people are really looking to that like 28th through the 30th for the reveal. To be honest, I could see it happening any of these weeks, frankly. It could happen before Donkey Kong. It could happen the following week. It could happen the end of January. I guess the pessimist in me wants to, lean towards that later January slot. Maybe that makes more sense. But if we see this console in 2 or 3 days, I mean, sure, why not? I don't know. I don't feel that strongly about any of these time frames. I guess The true pessimist could be like, oh, well, it's not happening until February or March. I think we will probably see this console released in April, maybe early May at this point. So I just don't think a February or March reveal makes the most sense unless it's like literally February 4th or 5th, which is when their investor meeting is. There was also this tweet from Nintendo. This is one of the major reasons I would say people are saying it might happen next week when Donkey Kong releases. On January 7th, Nintendo tweeted out, they're just an account that posts Nintendo deals. They're not known for leaking anything, but they do have a very large following, so maybe someone DM'd them information or something. I guess that's the running theory. They said, until this morning, I was 50% sure Switch 2 would be revealed this month. I am now 99% sure the Switch 2 will be officially revealed this month. And then I think 2 days ago, they tweeted out this: will you be picking up Donkey Kong Country Returns with the capitalized S HD next week? And a lot of people are taking this to mean as like a hint that maybe they know that the Switch 2 reveal is the week of the Donkey Kong release, because for those that don't know, BEE is seemingly the product code for the Switch 2. The Switch 1 has HAC, and it looks like for Switch 2 it's BEE. I believe that was found on the leaked images of the motherboard, I want to say. So that's seemingly the product code for the Switch 2, and Nintendo is making like a weird little cheeky tweet about this. They also capitalized the S. They also made the S bigger in the image. So I'm not sure what that means, frankly, but a lot of people are covering it. I've seen a lot of other Nintendo YouTubers really putting a lot of stake into this. Like I said, Nintendo is not a leaker. It's very possible that they would just get some random information in their inbox because they are such a big account. I think they have over 100,000 followers. Yeah, they have 177K followers. So, like, is it possible they got some information? I guess. But I don't think we can really look at this as like evidence of it happening next week, to be completely honest. There was also this post going around Reddit. I believe it's already deconfirmed, but I wanted to talk about it because so many people were like tagging me in posts about it and like just talking about it. Yesterday, there was this user on Discord. I believe they go by Moisty Charlie. They have a Moist Critical profile picture, but also average Lucia Fanatic. They said, I have a date for y'all, 17th of January 2025. Launch day is March 3rd. Launch titles are Mario Kart 9, Red Dead 2, and an announcement trailer for a 3D Mario. Retail price in Canada is $400. And it's just weird to me because people were like actually looking into this. I almost want to make an entire video like debunking specifically. People don't seem to like look at the calendar when they see a leak. They're just like, oh yeah, this leaker saying it must be true, or like, oh, Amazon put up this listing for Legends EA. This happened a couple days ago. They put up a listing for Legends EA, and it was August 15th. Look at the calendar and like just figure out when Nintendo releases things. Nintendo does not release things on Mondays. They do not release things on Tuesdays. They do not release things on Wednesdays. And they certainly don't release things on Fridays anymore. People still seem stuck in the mindset that Nintendo's releasing games and products on Fridays. They don't do that anymore. In 2024, they started releasing all of their products, including even like Amiibo reprints, Alarmo, like they release stuff on Thursdays. And if you look at the calendar, you will find that Monday, March 3rd, well, first of all, that's weird that they would copy the exact release date of the Switch 1, but that's a Monday. They're not releasing their new console on a Monday. You could maybe say, like, oh, maybe they'll make an exception and release it on a Friday because it's a new console. They want people leading into the weekend with it. But considering they release all their games right now on Thursdays, I think expecting the console to release on any day other than a Thursday, be that March 6th, 13th, 20th, 27th, April 3rd, April 10th, 17th, like, it's going to be on a Thursday, guys. I'm telling you, the console will release on a Thursday. So anytime you see a leak or of console dates saying it's going to be on Monday or a Friday, or a game, placeholder date saying it's going to be on a Friday, they don't release stuff on Fridays anymore. I don't know why people don't understand that yet. This person was also trying to say that the retail price in Canada would be $400, which translates to $280 US dollars. You think they're going to release a Switch 2 for under $300? No. That's definitely not going to happen. And then one last thing to just really drive it home that this person clearly knows nothing, and I guess I should have said the reason people were like giving them some credence is because they supposedly leaked the date that the PS5 Pro would be announced and the pricing for that. But to really, put the nail in the coffin for this guy, he said back in September that the Switch 2 would be announced early next month, hearing base MSRP of $400. It'll come in 2 different SKUs. This was in September. This is an article from September, and he was saying it would be announced in October. So yeah, this is fake, and people are really still running with it. I saw so many tweets about it, and I'm like, this guy doesn't know anything. This is a weird one. So Amazon is seemingly canceling all of the pre-orders for Metroid Prime 4. If you pre-ordered it back in 2017 with Amazon Prime, back when they did like the 20% off, they're canceling all of those pre-orders, which I don't know if this is necessarily related to like Switch 2 announcement timing or what. I do think that Metroid Prime 4 will be a $70 game because it's the most expensive game Nintendo's ever made, just based on the sheer development time and the location of the studio. For the past 6 years, Retro Studios has been making it in Austin, Texas. That's that's gonna be Nintendo's most expensive game. So I think it will be $70. So maybe that's why they're canceling these pre-orders so they can get you back in at the higher price point. I think Amazon should honor the prices, but whatever. Yeah, they're canceling all the pre-orders. I have not seen a single person saying like, oh yeah, they didn't cancel mine. Every post is being like, yep, they canceled it. So I don't know if this necessarily means anything. Amazon and Nintendo have seemingly had some sort of feud over the past year or so where a lot of Nintendo games and products aren't even being sold by Nintendo on Amazon anymore. So I don't know if this is related to that, but it is just like more flame for the fire of like, well, this is going to be a Switch 2 game. I think we all pretty much agree with that at this point. Yeah, it'll be on Switch 1, but it will be marketed with Switch 2. The fact that they're canceling these now, that is weird, right? That's just a little sus. And then finally, I would say this is the most concrete rumor or, talking points from the past 24 hours. Andy Robinson from VGC said something interesting on the VGC podcast. He said on their podcast that the reveal would be, quotes, everything I've been told is that it'll be, here's the system, and then the full reveal will come later, which is exactly what they did with the Switch back in 2016. They had the 3-minute teaser trailer, they teased some games with it, and then 2 months later, or I guess closer to 3 months later, we had the actual Nintendo Switch 2017 presentation. I'm not that shocked by that, and actually, I would say if that's their route, if that's what they're going to do with this, depending on the release timing of this console, I still think it's happening in early spring, so like March, April, May. A lot of people are still pushing like June, July, August. I don't know about that, guys. But if they're just going to do like a 3-minute teaser trailer, I think you could do that before Donkey Kong, right? I think you could do that next Tuesday, just drop it, and then say, hey, on maybe even January 29th, we get that bigger presentation. There's no way they're going to have that big of a gap, I don't think, in between a quick little teaser of the console and then the reveal of the games and the pricing and the release date and like all that. I don't think they'll do such a big gap this time. Maybe it'd be in like mid-February. Maybe it'd even be in like March, right? So I guess that's a pretty similar gap, but we'll have to wait and see. I was kind of working under the assumption that because they already started mass manufacturing back in September, that we would probably not even really get this 3-minute teaser, depending on when it's releasing. I think they could definitely get away with just doing the big event. They could still have the console reveal trailer in that event. That's how it opens up. They can still post that separately on social media. So I wasn't really expecting this to have its own separate moments, but that would be fine with me. And if that means we see it sooner and then we have, more weeks of speculation, then we can really focus on the games, which would be nice. And, predictions for what would actually be in the event, I'd be down for that. So we'll have to wait and see. It looks like if we are to believe Andy Robinson, we will be getting some sort of very basic console reveal and then a bigger reveal either a few weeks or even maybe a few months later. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. When do you think the Switch 2 is getting revealed and released at this point in time? Of course, with new information comes new predictions. People are going to be changing when they think this thing is releasing and getting revealed every week until it actually happens. It's just a reality of things. I thought it was going to be this past week. I will take the L on that. At this point, I'm not really confident in any week other than that I do think we will see this thing officially in January. I truly do believe that. Whether or not it's next week or the week of the inauguration or the week after that, like that, I'm not going to put a week on it. I just think it's happening this month. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. What do you think of Amazon canceling Metroid Prime at pre-orders? What do you think of all of these different Switch 2 reveal rumors? And what do you think of Nintendo actually commenting on the leaks from Genki? I would like to get a conversation going down below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch 2 speculation, theories, discussion, rumors, all that fun stuff. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames and check out my other channel at It's Amiibo. Until next time, folks. Peace.